Welcome back to another episode of Jason's Life in 5. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2026. And you can see behind me, that is the bank vault at the hotel we are at. It's a converted bank. The hotel's called the Gold Bank. We are in Prague, Czech Republic, and we have a day full of adventure. So join me for sights and sounds of Prague. We have taken the streetcar over to really the area we kind of started yesterday. First place we are going is a cafe for breakfast. It's called the Cafe Louvre. And this is evidently a place that has been here for quite some time. And some people that have been notable that have eaten there are Albert Einstein and Franz Kafka. And today is going to be a big Kafka-esque day. Well, just in the fact that we'll be following in some of his footsteps. Hopefully the day will not be Kafka-esque. And we can talk about that as the day goes on. We'll go down and get some breakfast and go from there. Come and look and see what items we have for breakfast. I believe this one here is one that piqued our interest. It is pancakes and a raspberry stew with sour cream. Got some history of the restaurant, built in 1902. What's going on? We have to come upstairs. Does it seem like we're in a closed building to you guys? Okay, I'm glad it's not just me, but I think it's up here according to the sign. I had no idea it was upstairs. And here we are. We're gonna go in and take a seat, and they said we can sit anywhere, but this fountain is quite interesting. You can see it fills these little bowls, and then they pour. Never seen a fountain like this before. We placed our orders, and they asked if we wanted bread, to which Kathy said afterwards, the answer is always yes, because we got a big basket of bread. And are you a fan of bread?
Very.
Are you a fan of bread?
It's good.
It's good. Not the same level of bread fandom, I don't think. Have you ever heard of hot orange with honey and cinnamon? That's what we're having, is hot orange juice. And Katya is having, what is you having? Hot chocolate? And I don't know why you have sparkling water. How is it?
It's like pudding.
It's like pudding. Maybe you're supposed to mix it with the water. I do not know. And then Tanya got water. Try the hot orange juice. Well, I've never had orange juice hot. You want to try it?
Is it like hot? Because it can burn my face.
No, it shouldn't burn your face.
That's hot orange juice.
Well, it is what it's named. So here's the breakfast beef goulash. Looks pretty good. She has the pancakes and raspberry stew with sour cream. Is that really sour cream? Taste it and let me know. And then we've got the ham and cheese croissant. Is it normal sour cream or is it different?
It's different, but it's sour.
It's sour.
It's not sweet.
Okay. So after a good breakfast, we are on the train. Got back on the streetcar and we are headed up. We're going to go to the castle first, and then we will go to some of the other sites we have planned for the day. We got a full day, so hopefully we can get everything done that we want. But the public transportation here is pretty efficient, and it's nice that we have our phone to kind of help us figure out which train line we're supposed to be on. But we just turned and we can see the castle up on the hill. Last night to go and cross the Charles Bridge. We just passed it. Prague. It's probably not pronounced correctly. We'll head up this road to the castle. The nice thing about the castle up on the hill is it makes great views. The bad thing about the castle up on the hill is we gotta hike up the hill to get there. I think you could have taken the metro and it would have let you out underneath. However, we weren't near the metro line. And we also would have missed the views driving through the streets on the streetcar. So we'll continue up the hill here and be at the castle soon. We have made it up the hill. We are at the entrance here to the castle complex. Over here you've got a great view of the city. I'll turn around, you can see that there. Good overlook. Kind of see the skyline. And they've got an orientation map over here, so we'll take a quick peek at that. And then we'll go in and check out the castle. Here is a look of the castle grounds. You can see we are here. And you can see the cathedral. That's, you know, the building that definitely everyone is able to see. It's totally enclosed. How would that be to have church right inside your backyard? I think we are headed to the cathedral first. So we'll just continue down the little walkways until we get where we're going. We come around the corner, and now the cathedral is in full display. What do you think about that building?
It's crazy.
It's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
Should we go in? She says yes. Outside the cathedral, the sign says you can take a bird's eye view from the South Tower. So maybe we'll have to go up and see what Prague looks like from up there. Make our way up the stairs here. I believe I heard someone say it was 287 steps to the top. My wife just said that she's gonna get dizzy because we are just going in a circle. So it is the same stairs for both up and down. And it is a tight fit just for the people going up. So probably they didn't think this out hundreds of years ago, that the tourists would need to be using this. So moved up a little bit, there's the bell. And if you look, you can see there's a rope and a chair. So I wonder if that's where the person that rings the bell sits. And funny, they have a clock to tell them what time it is. I think we have made it to the top of the tower. Oh wow, what is this? Rudolph II, the Holy Roman Emperor, moved the Habsburg capital from Vienna to Prague in 1583, and the clock tower movement was built in 1589 during the reconstruction of the cathedral. It was damaged in a great fire in 1541. Come out here and take a look at the view. That is where we were before coming up the tower. You can see all the people down there. You can see some of the more modern buildings. And lots of the towers. There's the Charles Bridge. Wow. A little bit further down the tower, you can see there's the bend in the river. Down here you can see the rooster weather vane. That's the roof of the cathedral. It's got that really interesting pattern. And you can see the flying buttresses, which help give it the support to hold the open nave of the cathedral. You can see the impressive copper covered spire here. Well, one of the spires of the cathedral. That distinctive green. All right, now we are heading back down. Gravity is definitely in our favor as we go down. People coming up are the ones breathing a lot heavier than those going down. We have made it down the cathedral. Up there, that's where we were just a few minutes ago. A lot of steps. There were a lot of heavy breathing people as we were in that little circular staircase. Now we're going to come around the front here and go into the cathedral. I'm going to head into the cathedral. I have to take hats off. Looks like they're checking tickets up here. Fortunately, we have pre-purchased. Upon entering, you get to see the stained glass. Quite impressive. Now they do have a sign that tells you have to take your hats off to come in, so hat is off. And they were reminding everybody. But this kind of gives you a scale of the cathedral. It's quite impressive, lots of stained glass. So let's take a look. Door has these interesting facial carvings up here. And I think it's done something to my daughter. I believe behind us there is the south tower that we went up earlier before we came in. And it looks like they've got some renovation work going on over here, so we'll take a look and see what we've got over there. The choir chapel is temporarily closed due to ongoing restoration work. Estimated completion? September 2025. Stained glass. Just so many different panels, and they're massive throughout the entire building. Just makes me think of one thing. The tomb is in the library. You said yourself it was a converted church. The shield is the second marker. Now we just gotta find the tiles that make the X on the floor. From what I understand, there were actually 3 different iterations of religious buildings on this site. The Gothic cathedral that is here today was started in 1344. There were additions that would continue to be made for hundreds of years. I believe the South Tower that we went up was a later addition. But it's impressive to think of all of this that they built hundreds of years ago. The cathedral is the final resting place for many Bohemian kings and other religious leaders. And you can see why they would want to be buried here. It is an impressive edifice. Behind me you can see where they are working. And this is the opposite end of where we came in. And then if we turn around over here, you'll see the stained glass and the organ pipe over the entrance of the cathedral. Check out the last stained glass before we head out here. So neat. We do have to ask, they have this railing. Am I the only one that thinks these look like slices of pizza? Just curious. Off to the right of the last stained glass, we can see a mosaic that depicts the baptism of Jesus Christ. You can see the dove, which was the form of the Holy Ghost that landed on Jesus Christ when he was baptized. It's interesting because they're standing in the river, but then he's pouring water on him. All right, so we have gone through St. Vitus Cathedral. Maybe we'll check out a couple other things that our ticket includes in the castle. But there are other things we want to get to today, so we've got to get moving. We've made it inside the old royal palace. Evidently, this is the site where they inaugurate the president of the Czech Republic nowadays. But there's a lot of history here. I believe these green ceramic structures are the old heaters that they would use to heat the castle. Looks like they have some markings or graffiti on the wall that they wanted to protect. Interesting, they didn't keep the spiders out, but kind of hard to read, and there's not really a sign telling us what it is. This banner here is from 1800. It's painted on silk. It says the banner is a lion on one side and the Austrian imperial eagle on the other. 10 such banners were donated by Prince Karl Schwarzenberg in 1800. For many years, they were hung over the entrance of the old Diet. One of the aspects that I continue to find, fascinating and also a little bit difficult is when you travel to, countries like this, the Czech Republic. There's not a lot of the history of the Czech Republic that is taught in the school system or just really widely known. I mean, you're kind of taught things about the area you live. And so there's all of this great history, these great buildings, and the people they talk about, and a lot of them I just am not familiar with. Plus, it doesn't help that I can't read the signs and the displays, but it doesn't take away from the feeling you get visiting here, and you can tell that some of these things they're just important. We found a doorway with mystery stairs, so we're going to see what this goes up to. Those are blocked, but we can come in here. The sign says that this door here led to the depository of land rolls. So it sounds like basically it was a library full of, I guess, the copy of the deeds and who owned what land. So probably kind of an important area, you would think. And an impressive collection of books. Not really sure what's through there. There's not really a sign or anything. All right, so we have an important development back in this room as we've come on the other side. They have a display that explains these are the coat of arms for individuals who held important land offices from the 16th to the 18th century. And then there's an example of some of the different ones and what role they had. We have made our way out of the old royal palace. We're back into the main square, and I just noticed they have a Starbucks in the castle grounds. That place is everywhere, man. We're gonna try to hit one last thing, St. George's Basilica in the castle grounds. Gonna make our way up the stairs here at the head of the building. I believe this is where I heard one of the guides saying that this is the resting place of the person that founded this. It's interesting, after you walk through, then they have some displays talking about some of the items. But we are pressed for time. Here you have the bones of one of the saints.
Torture chamber?
This is the Golden Lane. You can see it's definitely a popular spot. And over here they have the defense tower. And the torture chamber, I think Katya probably wants to go see that. Yep, my daughter headed straight to the torture chamber. She's kind of weird like that. See, this way you can turn which way you shoot your arrows. I'm pretty sure the arrows didn't go pew-pew, but good job. It could not have been easy to wear that and walk around, but it was vital during battle. I'm sure my daughter's upset that she's just seeing armor and not torture. Is this the torture chamber? Certainly doesn't look like a pleasant place to stay. See someone on the rack. Go down a little, you can see lots of implements of not fun. This chair here definitely does not look like something you want to be sitting on. So they have different types of houses you can go in. I saw the herbalist house. This is the cozy room of seamstresses. You can just kind of get an idea of what living up here and serving in the castle was like. So the houses here, many of them appear to have been turned into different businesses. Like this one here appears to be like a bookstore. See, it's house 22. This is what I was looking for because this once attracted, if you look here, Franz Kafka, one of the most famous former residents of Prague, a famous author. He actually resided here for a time. So, and that's going to kind of lead us into the next portion of our day because we're going to go down and check out the Kafka Museum. The person that worked in the bookstore where Franz Kafka used to live, she told us that there was one of his stories he wrote there. It was The Country Doctor. So kind of cool to think that that is where that story was written. You could have bought a copy, however, I already have a book that has that story in it. So we're going to make our way down the Golden Road and out back to find the Franz Kafka Museum. So they have a drinking fountain here. I guess they're going to risk it. How is it?
Tastes clean.
Does it taste germy?
It's cold.
It's cold?
Clean.
Alright, I'll have some water, I guess. Yep, it's water. I believe that sign up there is signifying the museum. We've made it to the Franz Kafka Museum. We have our tickets, and there's a courtyard, I guess, after we've come through the store. They have a strange statue here of two men peeing at each other. I guess that will kind of set the tone because I feel like Franz Kafka had a very strange outlook on the world. I think it's kind of a sad one, but we'll talk about that. So the journey to the museum starts by going up these stairs to an upper level. And when you arrive up there, you kind of find a collection that just kind of displays the history and the timeline of Franz Kafka's life. There's some interesting old video and photos of what Prague looked like. There's images of his father, different letters or documents that were from the time of his life. There's a letter that he wrote to his father in 1919. And there's pictures of him when he's younger. And it talks about his school days and the impact that that had on his life. There's also a collection that the case displays his inner circle of friends. Max Brod is probably one of the most influential, as he is the one that Kafka asked to destroy his writings when he passed. And fortunately, he did not do that, so we were able to have his stories today. Franz Kafka was, I think, a bit of a complicated individual. He was born, from what I understand, somewhat of a weak and sickly child. He was actually rejected from serving in the military because of his health. And I think a lot of that had impact on his outlook on life. He was not someone that had a lot of self-confidence. And I think, some of those ideas led to kind of they were influential in his writing. Franz Kafka is someone that did die young. He was 40 years old. He contracted tuberculosis, and he did die in Berlin, and then his body was taken to Prague to be buried. But in his life, he talked about how he just couldn't deal with the day-to-day of his life. His job was unbearable. He did get a leave for medical because of his situation. And you'll notice that it's very dark and, almost foreboding in the sense of the museum. And I think that kind of fits very well with his life. There is a display that talks about some of the individuals, the women that he had relationships with. He was engaged a few different times through his life and involved with other women. Never actually married, though. It is funny because one of the women, he wrote a letter talking about how much he wanted to marry her, and then proceeded to lay out all the reasons she should not marry him. And then at the end, he said, if you still think we should get married, go back and read page 7 again, or something like that. It was not the best proposal, I would say. But yeah, he just kind of was that way in his love life. Now, as you go downstairs in the bottom portion, this is where it delves more into the actual writings and kind of trying to understand those. And, if you've ever heard the term Kafkaesque, it's kind of the way I would describe it is someone being trapped in an unsolvable situation. Oftentimes they don't know how they got into it, and typically it leads to a tragic end. And they do display a good sense of that here. I think it's a sad way to have that outlook on life, frankly. And I think it would be very difficult to live that way. But, you look at some of his stories about metamorphosis or the castle, really kind of all of his are that way. And they have a short film about the castle. There's no words or anything. You just kind of watch it and take it in. It's a little interesting. I think it's trying to be an artistic interpretation of his writing. November 10th, 1916, Franz Kafka, in a gallery in Munich, gave his only public reading outside of Prague, and he chose the penal colony. And it sounds like the intellectuals present were left perplexed, and 3 ladies fainted. Someone labeled Kafka as a dilettante of terror, and the writer himself called it a truly spectacular failure. Here's an original first edition of the penal colony. Kafkaesque is one of the adjectives that is applied to all types of intolerable or hopeless situations. So we went through the museum. It was quite interesting because it had a good, compilation of the history of his life. I think if you didn't really know anything about him, it might not be as entertaining. But if you were someone that read a lot and understood a little bit at least about his life, I think it could be something that would be very interesting. We'll see what my daughter thought. What did you think of the museum?
It's pretty cool.
Was it really?
Yeah. I liked that they changed up the displays.
Okay.
Things looked different.
Yeah.
But it was really dark.
It was, well, I think that's kind of meant to be because I think he had kind of a dark outlook on the world and on
I
life.
think he was kind of depressed.
I think he had a lot of mental issues,
Yeah.
you know. Now we are making our way back over. We've crossed the river. We're gonna go into the old town and find the old new synagogue, or is it the new old synagogue? I can't remember. But we'll check that out. So we have made it to the new old synagogue. You can see the little jagged roof there on the other side. That's one of the famous views I've seen of it. This building was actually completed in 1240 AD. So it's crazy to think that this has been around that long. Got a little bird in the tree here. Hi, bird. Trying to get some stuff for a nest.
It's kind of a stupid bird.
Maybe it is. Come around to the other side and see. There you go, you get a more clear view of that jagged brick roof. So we have made it back over into one of the newer shopping centers in the old town. And here they have the Franz Kafka statue. And evidently on the hour, it starts to move. So it's gonna happen in just a couple minutes. Supposedly it takes maybe like 15 minutes for it to do its full show. So I don't know if we'll see the whole thing, but I don't know if you can tell each of the layers that are there evidently rotate or something. I don't know. Looks like it's rotated just to the side. I guess the sculpture, just like his stories, are a little mind-bending. We are going to take a train and go one stop to connect to the A line. We have made it to the Moose Tech station, and now we're transferring to the A line. So I would say that the subway is actually pretty convenient and easy to use. You can use the streetcars on the surface as well as, I think there's 3 subterranean lines, I guess. But I haven't really found it too difficult. Even if with not speaking the language, we've been able to navigate, you know, and plus with my phone, you know, I use Apple Maps, but I'm sure there's something good for Google as well, where it'll just tell you which steps and what stops to look for. So pretty easy. So we rode the subway out and we are now at the new Jewish cemetery. This is, from what I understand, the final resting place of Franz Kafka. So we're gonna go in here and take a look. Looks like I have to wear a hat, and if you don't have one, you have to pick one up. So at least I'll keep my hat on here. This is a good sign that we're on the right path. Just a little ways down here. As we walk along, they have these signs along the wall, and you can see they just line the entire way. But it looks like these are all memorials for people that were from the Holocaust. You can see these people were from Auschwitz, Warsaw. Wow. You can see these monuments are so closely stacked together. And it just seems to go on so far back. Wow. We have made it. Walked down the path. And here you can see the marker for the Kafka family. You've got Franz Kafka at the top, 1883 to 1924. Then you've got Herman, his father, 1854 to 1931. So he outlived him by quite a few years. And then Julie, which I believe is his mother, 1856 to 1934. So she outlived her son by a whole 10 years. You can see lots of little notes. Someone even left a little bug, assuming that's in reference to metamorphosis. It's one of his more famous stories, I believe. It's the story about a person who wakes up and has been transformed into a bug, even though his family is relying upon him to provide. I think that's going to bring a conclusion to our journey of Franz Kafka. I had a good breakfast and I'm feeling strong this morning. Yeah. The escalator in the subway moves really fast. And I've almost fallen down twice. Once going up and now going down. So hopefully I will not have that issue again. Now we are out for a little bit. It's in the evening. I think it's about 7:30 right now. There's one site we had left on our list of things to do today. Not that we've done everything, but we kind of made a list before. We wanted to go see the dancing buildings. I believe they're nicknamed Fred and Ginger. Assume after Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. But it's right here across the street. And it's definitely a very interesting building. Certainly not frequently you see buildings that are swaying like that one there is. All right, so we saw the dancing buildings. We looked at it. You better be looking at it. We came all this way to look at it. Oh, it's infectious. Yep, that's it. So we have been walking along the river. It's, I guess, between the street and the river here. But we're walking up towards where the Charles Bridge is. We might go check that out since we went last night in the dark. Still a little bit light still. We thought maybe it might be fun to kind of go check it out so we can get a little bit better view. Maybe check out the statues. Last night, some of them we could see from the light, but others were pretty dark. Some people out there have rented pedal boats. We briefly talked about doing that. Decided our legs probably didn't want to do that. When I came to Prague 27 years ago when I was in school in Germany, I really was just here for one day. I came in on an overnight train, and then there was a couple other guys from school that came down. And yeah, we really spent the day and then left that evening on the train. So, you know, I don't have a ton of vivid memories with it, especially with it being 30 years ago. But I do remember the bridge. That's always been one of the things, the Charles Bridge specifically. But that's one of the things I've always had fond memories of from my time here. I remember going up to the castle and the cathedral. I don't think I went in any other parts, and I don't even think I had to buy a ticket at that point. I think you just went into the cathedral. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a while. We've made it back to the Charles Bridge. This replaced an original wooden bridge from the 1100s. And when they built this, it was started in the late 1300s and finished in, it said, what I read, it said the early 15th century, so 14 something. And when it was originally replaced, the wooden bridge that was here previously had been damaged by flooding, and This was at the time called the Stone Bridge or the Prague Bridge. But since the 1870s, it has been referred to as the Charles Bridge because it was King Charles that commissioned it. And I guess after 150 years, probably the name should stick by now. But it is lined with all of these statues of saints and different people. And it's kind of interesting because those were put in mostly in the 1600s. There were a couple that were added later. However, I just recently learned that they have gone about replacing the original statues starting in 1965, and so these are actually replicas, and the originals are in the National Museum. So these aren't really that old and special. I always think it's interesting when you see these metal sculptures where they're shiny. That's the places people rub. You can take a bigger boat cruise on the Elbe and go under the bridge. That one's lit. It looks like a dance floor under there. It's not, it's tables, but just the lighting. It is a beautiful place for a leisure cruise. Well, you can see now that the lights have illuminated. It's starting to get darker. So we are going to go back over towards the old town, see if we can just find something to eat. I don't think anyone really knows what they want to eat for sure. So we'll see. Maybe we just get something simple, or maybe it ends up in something else. But we don't have much time. We have an early train in the morning, so we got to get back fairly early because we have to be on the train. I think it's at 6:30 in the morning. The old town is lined with lots of tourist traps and kitschy type places. And I gotta be honest, some of these I'm kind of here for it. We're gonna go into the Candy Miners. Seen a few candy stores, but this one looks like it might be kind of cool. We'll check it out. So you get lots of different types of gummy items. Monster-sized gummy bears. And gummy cola. And there is the mine running. Bringing down the gummy goodness, I guess. You can get some fudge. Oh, you can get some of the rock candy or covered sunflower seeds. Weird licorice things. Looks like they have a flat rate. It's like, I don't know, 100 crowns for 100 grams. And that's where they get the dumb Americans, because we don't know what 100 grams is. We just load up a bag, and then before you know it, we have a lot of money we gotta pay. Got some dried candied fruits, mango, hibiscus flowers. Licorice ropes. My wife said that these look like Peeps. Ice cream marshmallow is what it says. And a strawberry one. Very interesting. We have a lot of different items. Oh, gummy spiders, it looks like. Surprised my wife just left. It's not just candy, they have nuts. I gotta ask, what is peanuts in pizza coated? I don't think that's for me. It was fun to go in, but we didn't buy any gummy candy or weird nuts or dried fruit or any of that. So we'll just keep making our way down the path, see what else we can find. We had to get one more bread. What is it, a bread cone? Bread chimney. I just got a plain one, and you can see it is hot. It is still steaming, and my hand is burning. So we're gonna stop videoing because my fingers are on fire. Ah, take that. Across the street, you can see this tower. This is the Prague Powder House. This was originally built in 1475. It was part of the original city fortifications, and it's, for a while at least, where they stored the gunpowder. You know, is kind of an important area. It's one of the more photographed things as far as the sights of Prague. The tower is very famous, and it's kind of an interesting place because it's a display of the wealth, is what they say. So I think that is going to do it for our day in Prague. Tomorrow, like I said earlier, we're going to be getting up early and taking the train into Germany, and we'll be spending the day in Dresden. So it's going to be a lot of different cities and countries we're going to hit on this trip. But, we'll be different places every day, it seems, and we'll, I guess, just be tired throughout the time. But it's a good way to hit a lot of different sites. So that's going to do it for this episode of Jason's Life in 5. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on another adventure. Till then, happy travels.